Hi guys, so I want to quickly go over some tips on running your EMR queries for this reporting month. So remember that each team should have somebody, at least one person, hopefully multiple people with access to the QI environment. You can email me to get access, and we just need to get this approved through the EMR team, and then Manson Young from the EMR team can add you. So first of all, before we dive into running these queries, remember that the primary focus and goal of our work here is data-driven work through PDSA cycles. This is our #1 priority. Don't worry too much if you're not reporting on all of your collaborative level outcome measures, the stuff we're talking about today. The priority, remember, is that you're actually testing changes and doing these PDSA level changes, testing of changes with measures there. If you follow a few simple guidelines that I've listed below here, the collaborative level measures should be easy to report. So the goal is using the OUD form 100% of the time, and we need the treatment course dates set at least once per patient. Okay, so that will allow us to calculate our outcome measures of OAT access and OAT retention. And we need to get a reliable population of focus. So some of our teams have done great work on this, where their baseline population of focus according to keywords is now almost lining up with their 304.0 in the problem list. So they've done good work at adding this to the problem list where it's needed. Now remember, you can add that to the problem list right from the OUD form. Okay, so this is a schematic of what the Boost Collaborative is actually doing. And you see at the top, the most important part, the stuff you guys are doing is testing changes and measuring things day to day, like how many phone calls are we making, things like this. Those are the PDSA level measures. Those are trying to drive towards your site-specific aims. Hopefully those site-specific aims line up with our overall collaborative aims. And then you're reporting on collaborative level measures, and well, that's what we'll be talking about today to do for your monthly report. So that's the queries you're running in the QI environment, and then putting the results into that Excel reporting tool. Remember these important points that have been brought up before. We need 304.0 added to the problem list where appropriate. We need to enter those 2 dates in the treatment course, and we need to work towards 100% OUD form usage. Okay, remember these OUD form how-to videos, there's the link there. And we continue to want to receive feedback so we can keep making the form better, more usable, more user-friendly. Okay, so we'll cover these measurements today. We'll talk about how we're going to get OAT access, our active OAT, optimal OAT dosing, and retention. And remember, this is how they fit into our driver diagram for Boost. So we want to be measuring different parts of our aims or drivers with these collaborative level measures. So we're going to cover the population of focus today, OAT access, so that's the number of clients with first OAT initiation date entered on the form. We can quickly touch on rate of THN training, number of ODs in the last 30 days, retention. So retention, we're checking their most recent OAT start date, plus the fact that they have an active OAT prescription, and then the number of clients with active OAT. And then as a subset of this, we can look at their dosing, where people are using the OUD form, and see what percentage are on optimal dosing. So first of all, data cleanup. We've gone over this before. Try to make sure your POS and MRP are correct. So that's either PC-POS or alt-POS. For patients who you're not following any longer, make sure the charts are being closed, Paris referrals closed, and remove the MRP designation. And as I mentioned, you can add the 304.0 with the form. Okay. First of all, population of focus. So in the QI environment, you can go to the Boost folder under the stored queries. So at the top menu of the EMR, you go to Report, and then to Stored Queries, the window will open. You'll see something like this, and then you have your population of focus queries right here. If you double click on the population of focus query, a window will come up where you have to enter your POS. So for example, if it was Ravensong, you would put RSG there and then run the query. Now the baseline POF query can take a few minutes, whereas the 304.0 query is pretty quick. Now in terms of, so I ran these numbers for Ravensong just for an example, and this time around we get 434 in our baseline query and 282 in our 304.0. And this kind of lines up with the work we've been doing. I know that within the last month our LPN has done a lot of work in further population of focus data cleanup, so I expect we'll be getting closer to that 434 number. And we've seen with other teams that they're kind of reaching around 90% of the baseline once they consider themselves done their population of focus cleanup. Now remember, when you're running your baseline query, you have to export that query result into Excel and remove the duplicates because it's searching by diagnosis, so it may turn up the same patient multiple times. Removing duplicates is pretty easy in Excel. You just, first of all, as I said, export your query result. You delete the first row of that spreadsheet because it's just the title of the query. And then once you delete that, you'll have your titles or your column titles in the first row. So you can Control A or select A to select all of your data. And then there's a function, if you go under the data menu on Excel, where you can remove duplicates. So you want to remove all the duplicates just in the file number column, so because that's the patient ID number. So you can do that here. If you go to remove duplicates, a window like this will show up. You want to first unselect all and then just select the ID column, the file number. Say your data has headers, and then if you click there, it will remove all the rows that are a duplicate file number. You can then just look at the number of rows minus 1, which is the header row, and that will give you the number of clients in your population of focus. All right, just a note about sorting your data. So you can use this function as well in Excel, especially when you're looking at your duplicate prescriptions or the daily dose. If you want to sort those out for easier counting, you're just going to have to select all of your data. Say your data has headers, and then you can sort by one or more columns. So this is useful when you're running a query of your Suboxone and Cadian scripts. You'll get that result. You'll delete the first row, which is the title. Then you'll have your column headings in the first row. And then you could sort by first the medication name and then by the daily dose. So then you'll be able to easily see your data for Suboxone and Cadian sorted by dose. So then you can count, for example, for Suboxone, how many people are on 16 milligrams and above. Which is the optimal dose. Okay, so let's look at OAT access. That's one of the things where we can try reporting on. Remember, this is in our overall collaborative, we want to get this to 95%. So out of those people with a history of OUD, we want to know that 19 out of 20 have at least tried OAT. Okay? Our OAT access hinges on the POS being accurate, the 304.0 being in the problem list, and where we're not quite there yet is having this first ever initiation date entered. Okay, so you can see if it is entered, that's how we're figuring out, has the person ever been on methadone, Suboxone, or Cadian. We just need to ask this once per patient, so not too onerous. And I think this is one of the things we'll be focusing on next in our teams. Okay, so then we can run the query. This is how the query is set up. So if you right click on the query and go to open instead of double clicking, you'll see how the query is designed. We're basically searching the latest OUD visit forms and making sure there's something entered for the first ever OAT initiation date. Null is not null means that there's something entered. So a null value just means that nothing's been entered in that field. Okay, so it looks like at Ravensong they're 97 with that entered. I know that the data has not been entered on most forms, so this isn't yet a reliable measure of OAT access, but this is also something that doesn't change too dramatically. So I think we're okay if we focus on asking this question once to our clients throughout the next month or two. So our goal at Ravensong will be to make sure the data is entered for all clients, and I think we'll easily be able to do this, hopefully as part of a triage process. Okay, next we can look at the rate of THN training. If you run that this query 1.5 rate of THN training, if you're an alt POS, make sure to use that query. You can see from the results when you export to Excel that we've had 106 documented with THN training. Similarly, we can run the number of ODs query, and we see that at Ravensong, 4 out of the 96 with data entered had ODs in the last month. For retention data, it's a bit tricky because our queries aren't yet set up to only query active prescriptions and the most recent OAT start date. We are going to use the most recent OAT start date to calculate retention, or how long people are on therapy. But right now you need to cross-match your lists of clients with active OAT. So retention is the date of the QI refresh minus the most recent OAT start date. Now we know we don't have the most recent OAT start date entered for a lot of our clients, so again, we want to make sure we're entering this over the next month or two. If you're restarting somebody or if you have a new start, that'll be entered automatically. Okay, and then in terms of active OAT, so right now we have to run this through searching the prescription forms instead of the OUD form. We're hoping to make it simpler and quicker in subsequent months, but right now, if you run these two queries, so either active OAT methadone or active OAT Suboxone and Cadian, you'll be able to get some numbers and you can combine them. So at Ravensong, if you run the active OAT methadone, we see 102 clients, and then we can sort that by dose and find out that 64 are on 60 milligrams or higher. If we run the active Suboxone and Cadian, we see that we have 28 clients with 12 on 16 milligrams or higher, and then we have 14 clients on Cadian. Now we know that the OUD form isn't being used 100% of the time, so we can look into this further by this other query I've created called Boost All Active Duplicates. So then you can sort by drug name and figure out how many Suboxone and Cadian exist. And then you can look at, is there a daily dose entered or not, so that will tell you was it created using the form or not, because the daily dose field is only filled out if you use the form. So we see that 19 clients have active prescriptions for Suboxone at Ravensong that were not made using the form. Hopefully this will go down over the next month or two as we move towards 100% form usage, and we only had one client with Cadian for OAT that was created not using the OUD form. Okay, so then you can enter those values into your Excel spreadsheet. If you think your population of focus is getting close to being accurate and the data cleanup is pretty much done, then you can put that in, or you may want to put an estimate with the baseline population of focus. And then the run chart will be automatically filled in as we continue to fill these out throughout the months. All right, guys, that's it for now. If you have any questions or feedback, I'm available. The best way to get me is at cole.stanley@vch.ca. We can try to answer some simple questions through email, or if it's getting more complicated, we can also try to arrange some on-site coaching. All right, have a good night.